hearing this?
Anybody hear that?
How can we possibly have the slightest idea what to expect?
Well, we're back.
Hold on to your butts.
Welcome to the Jurassic Park podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic, including the movies, TV shows, music, toys, and more. In episode 414, Caleb Burnett returns to discuss Alexandre Desplat joining the Jurassic franchise. We discussed all of Desplats' history, the information that was revealed in that EW article, and the Rebirth score sample that accompanied that article. We also dive into things that we'd like to hear for Rebirth, and of course, we have to play music, so we dive into some of Desplat's work that I think sounds the most Jurassic. So it's another wonderful episode of Dino-Score, the music of the Jurassic Park franchise. So stick around. Of course, while you're listening to this episode, hit us up on Blue Sky to continue the conversation. And as always, please check out our live streams on YouTube discussing all of the latest Jurassic news from around the world, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. EST. Also, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter for all things Jurassic, movies, TV shows, my podcasts, and other thoughts and appearances. Find the link to the newsletter on JurassicParkPodcast.com/newsletter. But we've got another great episode ahead of us, so let's go ahead and just dive right into it and join myself and Caleb Burnett in another installment of Dino-Score, the music of the Jurassic Park franchise.
Ready, guys?
Let's go. The beginning was a conversation. Would you be excited to write the score of a Jurassic movie? And I said, wow, that's a challenge. The history of this incredible franchise, and above all that, it's John Williams, my forever idol. Flutes, make sure it's... I wake up and I want to write music. That's what I love. It's just a joy for me. As John Williams would say, it's infinite, the possibilities of an orchestra. Beautiful. Thank you very much. At some moments, the music is so loud and so strong and dynamic, they will feel it. The audience will feel it for sure.
We talked about the John Williams film, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Music by John Williams. So that was back in November last year. So,
Yeah.
we've been wondering, I feel like for a little while, like what's going to happen. Maybe I think we did actually like talk about some Rebirth news and stuff on that. So I'm sure we have floated names out there for a while. And even just the other day, I'm sure you were following it and just thinking about those rumors. You heard the rumor, right, about John Williams being a part of this movie and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? Before we get into the actual news of the day, what are your thoughts on that? Like, while we had no clue who the actual composer was going to be for Rebirth.
Well, we haven't talked about music in like 6 months because like we've all just been waiting for a composer announcement longer than we thought we were going to be waiting, probably.
Yeah.
And like, no, so the reason I kind of had hope for John Williams is because like it feels like this film is bringing back, we brought back David Koepp, and like, Spielberg feels like he's a little more involved. And I was like, if anybody could convince John Williams to come back for a Jurassic movie, it's Steven Spielberg and David Koepp. And so those rumors felt far-fetched to me, but like they felt there were ways I was trying to make, so
Yeah.
many of us were trying to make John Williams work in our heads. Like, maybe it's this or maybe it's that. And like, the other thing about all this is like, he's been out in public lately for the first time in a while. And it's because he's having health issues. And so, that's unfortunate. And I just like, every time this comes up, I just want to wish him well. And I hope he lives 100 more years and,
I know.
all that good stuff. And so, I'm almost, we have news for the Rebirth composer. And so I'm almost like, okay, yes, John Williams can rest. Please rest, John. Like,
Yeah.
stay with us. So
Stay with
yeah.
us, please. Yeah, some of that, the stuff surrounding the rumor was like, ooh, it could check out just because like it's like you mentioned, it's been so long, we've been waiting for so long. And I feel like the past few movies, we did have those moments where we're like, oh, is Giacchino coming back? Is he actually coming back for this? It's been so long. Like, we don't know. We haven't heard anything. And then for this one, it was like, man, maybe they're saving up for some sort of special big announcement or something. Like, kind of when we heard about John Williams, we're like, okay, maybe there's some truth there. But that was actually turned around pretty quickly, and we found out about and of course, as I always mess it up, Alexandre Desplat, the composer for Jurassic World Rebirth. I am not French, apologies. I'm doing my best here. So quick thoughts on what when you first heard that news, like it's because it's a name that's been brought up before. We've talked about it before. What were your initial thoughts when you saw that?
Oh yeah, Alexander Desplat or Desplat, or we're all gonna be just saying whatever we feel over the next couple months.
Whatever just actually falls out of my mouth is just how it's gonna sound. I don't know.
But we're aspiring to be as French as Alexander Desplat, because like he, in that video they released, that the Jurassic World account released, and EW was there, or whoever it was, like that was so wonderful. Like, for the composer and the score to get that kind of attention and like welcome him to the franchise and all that kind of stuff. So like, because all of that came with the announcement, it was like, I think it's a great choice for Jurassic, for the franchise, for the whole thing. And it's funny because like we over on Jurassic Outpost made a video a year ago, last April, saying, who will the composer be for Jurassic World Rebirth? Thinking that like we would know a composer in like the next 2 or 3 months after that. And that was not the case. But I, my opinions were in that video, and like Desplat was near the top of my choices. I've loved his music for a long time. He's a great composer, and he works on cool films. He works on really unique, entertaining films. Like, everything he works on it's nothing generic. It's always like, Harry Potter and Wes Anderson and, Godzilla. And so like, I think he's just such a good choice. I'm so excited. So
yeah, you talk about releasing that video and stuff. Sometimes we always try to like time, like releases like of an article or a video, or like we're like, oh, it's got to be right around the corner, maybe they'll release it now. And then when they just blow past that, that timeline in your head, you're like, wow, when is this happening? When are they going to finally release it? And they did a pretty great video and article there, so we learned a lot about him to kind of introduce it, the guy and his work, to the audience. And I think like you mentioned Godzilla, I feel like a lot of people in this fandom are probably aware of some of his work, at least. But you mentioned he does a lot of like really varied stuff and really unique stuff. So I think that's part of the fun here, and trying to think about how it's going to come out, how it's going to sound. Because while he's like a very elegant and emotionally like charged composer, I feel like that's what you get when you listen to a lot of his scores. Is this very like just elegance, it feels very sophisticated, a lot of the work. But at the same time, there's some weirdness in there. There's some unique stuff. There's some, tribal beats and different things and electronic stuff and things that you wouldn't expect. I feel like for this guy, there's a lot of unexpected stuff that's in his work. And I think that's really interesting. with John Williams and Michael Giacchino, and I don't know a lot of Don Davis's work, but what we heard in Jurassic Park 3, it was like it was all very expected kind of material. So I wonder if he'll kind of throw us, anything new or interesting in that regard, because some of his other stuff
Yeah,
has been really unique, at least.
that was a thought I definitely had, just knowing a lot of his wacky Wes Anderson scores and like
Yeah.
all of the different styles he's done. I was like, I wonder what type of wacky weirdness he's gonna throw into Jurassic World. So I'm excited for that, especially because like the wacky, weird, dark stuff. That's where you get fun in a Jurassic score. So
Yeah, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about we'll touch on all that, of course, a little bit more. But so yes, we've mentioned he's a French composer and conductor. He's actually won 2 Academy Awards, one for The Grand Budapest Hotel and The Shape of Water, 2014, 2017. He's got 3 BAFTA awards, 2 Golden Globe Awards, 2 Grammy Awards. And he's been Oscar nominated for The Queen in 2006, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, 2008, Fantastic Mr. Fox, 2009, The King's Speech in 2010, Argo, 2012, Philomena, 2013, The Imitation Game, 2014, Isle of Dogs, 2018, and Little Women in 2019. So you can see like there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, some different stuff, but and it's very varied, because you have, on one hand, you have like Godzilla, which is this spectacle kind of blockbustery movie, but then you have things that are very, very different in here, like Fantastic Mr. Fox or Benjamin Button. Like it's a very varied kind of filmography. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it translates, for sure. I
yeah,
haven't, and I'll be honest, I don't feel like I've seen a lot of his movies, maybe like 5 or 6 or so, but not enough to be super like incredibly familiar with his work, like I am like John Williams or maybe even Giacchino. But you seem to be pretty familiar with his work, right?
yeah, I would say so. His score for The Shape of Water that he won Best Score for in 2017 is one of my favorite scores for any movie.
Hmm.
It's orchestral, but it gets into the weird and wacky too, just
Yeah.
because that's a really strange movie. And so it's a fantastic score. So yeah, he's, just as far as familiarity goes, something that another thing that makes him a good choice is that he orchestrates most of his own scores. He does it himself. And so like that one means that he's a very talented, very intelligent musician, but that also means that like it just has his personal style all over it, and it's really unique. Like even John Williams brings in someone else to sort of orchestrate his stuff a lot of times. But I mean, John Williams is telling that person what to do. But like to be a composer and just sit there and be able to put every instrument part down on the page yourself, it just, like, his scores are, like you said, they're elegant. That's kind of how that goes. So yeah.
I just wanted to read a little bit here. You can kind of get a little backstory about him. This just came from Wikipedia. It says, Desplat began playing the piano at age 5. Later, he picked up the trumpet before switching to flute at 9. His musical interests were wide, ranging from French composers Maurice Ravel and Claude Debussy to jazz and world music. He developed an early appreciation for film music, courtesy of the movie soundtracks his parents brought back from the United States. He began collecting Bernard Herrmann's Hitchcock soundtracks as a teen, and eventually decided to pursue a career as a film composer after hearing John Williams' Star Wars score in 1977. So there you go. There's especially the last 2 references there with Bernard Herrmann, which very much felt like Michael Giacchino was really honing in on that kind of vibe for Fallen Kingdom, and then obviously John Williams there. So and he's talked pretty widely about how John Williams is like his icon, when it comes to music making. So
Yeah, I'll be excited if we get to hear him say any more about all of that in this whole process, just about John Williams and coming on to score something he'd scored before. So
Well, it's not the first time either. You know, he's done Harry
yeah,
Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, which, you know, I'm more familiar with the John Williams work. So while I was like listening back to a lot of like his work, I was like, "Yeah, okay, I don't really know. I can't necessarily point out like what's like an original kind of composition or theme or anything like that versus like how new is the work that I'm hearing." So that was a little tough for me to tell, but like that's good because like he's really honing in on that style that they you know crafted for Harry Potter. So that worked out really well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd say those last two Harry Potter scores are probably my favorite after John Williams left in a
Mhm.
way, because it's, I don't know, those movies are very like engaging and consequential, so like the
Sure.
score is really epic and all that, but like those two scores for Harry Potter by him are great too. So
Yeah. So yeah, I was looking through the list and there's some other notable ones. Twilight, New Moon. I
mhm,
just dipped
mhm.
into Twilight fairly recently, so I don't know a lot about the score there.
Oh
Zero
yeah.
Zero Dark 30. Like I said, Godzilla. This was an interesting one to me. Secret Life of Pets 1 and 2. Very like
Mhm.
different, very different style of movie than I would have expected from
So
Alexander
that,
Desplat. Like
yeah,
it
that
feels very like elegant, like I said, but here comes Secret Life of Pets.
that music that you hear in Universal Studios Hollywood, that's Desplat. So
And me and you got to ride
um
that ride together. My first time on that ride. I was like, heck yeah. So
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Look, that we manifested Desplat being the
we did.
composer of this movie because we rode a ride with his music together.
That's true.
So
We also have Asteroid City. That was a movie I really enjoyed. I thought that was a good one.
oh yeah,
Um,
I enjoyed that one.
and two movies that I'm like really anticipating this year: Frankenstein with Guillermo del Toro and Jurassic World
Yeah,
Rebirth. Look, I mean, look, hey, I'm
yeah.
I'm anticipating that one. So, Frankenstein though, I've been looking forward to that. I feel like I have it on my like top 10 hype list for like this year. So I'm very excited to see what comes from that movie. To hear
Yeah.
to hear that he's a part of that is very exciting as well. So
What a great 2025 docket resume. I'm scoring Jurassic World and Frankenstein. Like two I mean, Frankenstein is like very thematically related to Jurassic, so that's cool.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah. You know, and I was just watching, this is not related at all, but I was just watching Revenge of the Sith in theaters the other day, and
Hey,
I'm
me
just
too.
like,
Yes.
yeah, and I you know, I got to the whole Vader birthing sequence basically, and it's just like, man, this is so Frankenstein like right here. This is like the
Oh
monster
yeah.
coming to life. It's just so cool to see that. So but yeah,
Speaking of great score, incredible scores, Revenge of the Sith. Good lord.
it's unreal. Yeah. We could go on and on about that. That score's
Yes.
incredible, yeah. But speaking of Star Wars, I mean, we can actually dive into one note here. That Desplat was actually originally set to do Rogue One, but actually had to leave the project because, as everybody knows, and especially right now with Andor airing, there was a lot of like drama behind the scenes, and who even knows who like filmed the most amount of stuff on that movie? Was it Gareth Edwards? Was it Tony Gilroy? I don't
Yeah.
know, but he was intended to be the original composer for Rogue One, which is a Gareth Edwards movie. But and the fact is that he would have been the first live action composer outside of John Williams for Star Wars back in 2016, because
Mhm.
outside of the Clone Wars animated movie, which had Kevin Kiner, there there was nobody else. Like it was all, and even at that time, John Williams was doing Star Wars movies, so
Yeah.
it would have been a big deal for him to be that first person. And of course, we know Michael Giacchino came in and did that movie in like 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it was. So,
Yeah.
and as much as I would have loved to have heard what he did, create for that movie, um, I really like what we got for Rogue One. I was listening to it the other day, and I'm like, I like, I don't know what we say, but blue skied it out. That I was like, dude, this thing gives me chills. The score is awesome. So,
You
but
you blue skied it out, or what?
I don't
What
know.
is it?
I don't know what the term is anymore. Yeah, but it definitely gave me chills. And there's that actually, while listening through some of his back catalog, I was getting vibes of like Rogue One during one of the songs. I think I have it queued up to listen to at some point. I forget which song it is. Maybe I don't. I forget. But yeah, I was like, wow, this is very like it could have been a very big history here already with him and John Williams outside of Harry Potter. Also, while I was doing some more research, I maybe did know about this, but I didn't necessarily register it. But he also was initially the composer for Black Widow and Barbie too.
Oh yeah,
So again, there
I
was some
remember
sort
that.
of issues being replaced and COVID or timing. I don't really know. There's a lot of discussion there around not being involved.
Another thing, like in the film music world, people talk about Alexander Desplat occasionally as being like very busy and doing like 10 films a year. So like that's something that people say about him sometimes. And so like he probably overscheduled himself in one of these occasions or something, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and at least we know that like we've seen him in a studio recording, and it's that's good. I don't think we're gonna be facing one of these issues where like Michael Giacchino
Yeah.
comes back in with 3 weeks left here to do Jurassic World Rebirth.
Well,
I don't
it's
know.
so beautifully ironic that Gareth and Desplat missed each other on Rogue One, a big franchise film, and Giacchino came in, and now Gareth and Desplat are coming together. Actually, got together on a big franchise film that is like that he's taking over for Giacchino on,
Yeah,
ironically.
yeah.
So it's kind of
But
funny.
yeah, because like they had that chance in Godzilla, which was awesome. The two of them working together. So to return to Star Wars would have been really cool. But now we're getting that again finally. And the whole replay. He's not necessarily like replacing Giacchino. It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Giacchino was. I don't know that he was scheduled to work on this movie. Maybe he was, but like, yeah, maybe that was part
I
of it.
just
Maybe
mean
he's like,
as the assumed franchise guy, I guess.
yeah.
But
But
yeah,
that's interesting because like we have now what we've got John Williams with 2 films. We got Don Davis with 1 film, Michael Giacchino with 3 films, and Amy Doherty with the live
short
action
film.
short film. And now we've got another
Leo
composer.
Bierenberg.
Oh yeah, Liam
Yeah,
Beale,
also.
yeah, for Camp Cretaceous and Chaos Theory. So we've got a lot of
Yeah.
composers now in this universe, and it's
Mhm.
pretty cool. And for a while it was like 2 guys. That was it. You know?
Yeah.
And now we've got such a varied score landscape, I think. And we can talk about like what John did and how maybe like I think Don Davis really did good work, but like not my favorite stuff. But Giacchino has now a full resume of Jurassic, complete, I would assume complete resume there. Um and I think there's just some incredible stuff in there. While I was like researching and thinking about what people or looking at what people thought about the spa here in this movie, it was like I heard a lot of people still not loving Giacchino's work and like saying like, oh, I can't wait to get away from that. We're gonna do something different here. So I was kind of surprised still to see people maybe didn't enjoy Giacchino on Jurassic World, the trilogy. I don't know if that's just the fact that like maybe a lot of people didn't love those movies or what, but I loved the movies and those scores in particular. So so hard.
Yeah, I'm in that boat. I love Giacchino's work, and I was excited for someone new, not because I didn't like Giacchino, but just because I think bringing something fresh to Jurassic is going to produce some awesome results. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
we're with this movie we're at a brand new kind of starting point. So it does make a
yeah.
lot of sense to bring in somebody else who could have a different point of view. And like we talk about it all the time. Who the heck even knows like what is the point of view of this movie? Like what are we doing here? I can't wait to see and find out and how how he composes things and shapes it. And maybe adds a lot of that mystery, because I think from what we can see, there could be a lot of mystery into this movie, and some weirdness. With certainly a lot of weirdness that we
Yeah, yeah.
even
I think there's
what was
gonna
it?
be some weirdness in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, Empire revealed the whole, which I can't, it's just not, it's not the easiest. What was it called? Distortus Rex? Like that's like not the.
Distortus Rex.
It's like a mouthful. Like Indominus Rex, like that worked and rolled off the tongue, but like Distortus Rex, like that doesn't really roll off the tongue as easily. And then there was also like another
It's
flying
Latin,
thing.
but yeah.
Yeah, there was like a
Oh
whole
yeah,
flying
Mutadon.
raptor thing. What was the name of that? Do you remember what that was?
The Mutadon from
Muted.
straight from the mind of David Kep. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be some weirdness, I think, in this movie, and whether you like it or not, like there's going to be some interesting stuff that I think you can do musically to tell this story, and I can't wait to see what that is. Yeah.
Another aspect of this, just to mention briefly, is like the relationship between a composer and a director, like, and having a fresh one on a movie or on a trilogy or on a franchise. Like, you know, Giacchino and Trevorrow worked together well, and it was great. And so like, but what I'm getting at is that, you know, what the director wants and what the director tells the composer has a lot of influence on like what the music ends up being, and like how much music there is in the movie, and where the music starts in the movie and where it stops, and, you know, where there are moments of silence if there are some. And so like with a new director composer relationship like that, I think that'll bring some interesting fresh things too, as far as like how much music and where it is. So
Yeah. Let's go ahead and just read through some of the EW stuff, because that's where all this came from. So I'm just gonna quote a few different pieces and talk about that. It says here, this is he himself is talking about: every score John Williams has written has become an iconic score, so it's quite a daunting task. He tells EW about carrying that legacy he inherited from Giacchino and Williams, and he says, at first you're excited, then panic comes along because you realize that you're taking over from a fabulous composer who invented so many great things that the whole planet knows. You try to find your way through that. Yeah, so I wonder how much of Giacchino will find its way, if any, into this movie, because this article really talks a lot about kind of taking over for John Williams, and John Williams hasn't been involved in a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's anything else, because this is still at its heart a follow-up ish kind of thing to Dominion, you know, in a way. So it's like, how do we incorporate any of that? Do we, you know, what do you think? Do you think there's going to be any kind of carryover other than Williams?
I was thinking about this, and it really, I think it really just depends on like how the events of Dominion, I don't know if I said that correctly, or like the themes of Dominion, or like dinosaurs being out in the wild. Like, I think it depends on what is on screen to warrant it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course.
Because like, I think you could certainly carry over some Jurassic World themes, maybe a couple. I don't know that there's a ton you could carry over. But I think, you know, when Giacchino took over from Williams for Jurassic World, like that, the previous trilogy that we were pulling themes from was like 25 years ago. So like, you know, and this trilogy that we would be pulling themes from is 3 years ago. Ended, but it didn't really end. It's just continuing. So like, you know, the epic conclusion of the Jurassic era, that thing. So I think in Rebirth there'll probably be more Williams than Giacchino, but I think if there was one theme from the entire Jurassic World trilogy to pull, it would be that main Jurassic World theme. And that would make sense to bring back for me because the title of the movie is the same. We're in the same world. Like, I don't think it has to be prominent necessarily, because I think Desplat is gonna create some new themes and a new main theme for Rebirth probably. But I think that like a reference to that main Jurassic World theme in a place or two would actually probably be a good idea. But just depends kind of if the story calls for it, I guess. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you were talking, I was just trying to think of any particular theme that should be carried through, and it's like there's some beautiful family themes and things that you wouldn't really carry those forward, even though there's a family in this movie. I mean, maybe you could. I guess because it is a world film, you could carry that over. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but I always felt like it was more like a whole like Zach and Gray kind of thing. But I think they did quote it a little bit more. But yeah, it's not like with Jurassic Park there was like island theme and stuff like that. It was a bit different with Jurassic World. We didn't really get. I don't feel like we really had a Dinos in the Wild theme. Actually, outside of that last. What would you call that last theme that we get with the? You know exactly what I'm talking about when we're getting the clip show of like dinosaurs with animals.
Yeah, the
yeah,
that
and
thing.
with the drums going with it and everything like that. That is an awesome theme there.
So it's funny you say that, because like I still like have a hard time pinning down a couple of the themes in Dominion and like what they represent. Because
hey, we broke down the whole thing. Just go back and listen to that episode. Me and you did.
Right. But like there's, as I listen to that score, because that's a really great score. I enjoy that score a lot. And I listen to that score and I hear music that happens under Ellie Sattler. And I'm like, is this supposed to be Ellie Sattler? And then when you hear it in other places, it's not under Ellie Sattler. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. I don't think there was like a Dinos in the Wild theme necessarily, unless you want to count like the main theme of Dominion as that. But
yeah, I'm really trying. While you're talking, I'm trying to pinpoint what that theme is at the end, because it does feel different and fresh at that point in the movie, which is literally the last minute of the movie. But that's a pretty awesome part that I guess probably won't be carried forward just because it's not Giacchino, and it's not like an iconic theme of any sort. But at this point, you mentioned we're 30 plus years now into this Jurassic Park theme. And Giacchino did it, with Jurassic World, and it's been quoted a bunch of times, and especially in Dominion, it was quoted a lot. Like they use that theme quite often, and in pretty good ways. So does it lose its effectiveness if we just keep going back to John Williams? Like, what do you think? Do you think is it still going to capture that? I guess it depends on what's on screen, but like, is it still going to capture that for you?
You've got me wondering about Dominion themes now. No, and now that I'm like thinking and hearing that in my head, I think that is like part of the main theme of Dominion at the end there. So that's the Dinos in the Wild theme. Case closed. You heard it here first. So I think that the themes in Jurassic Park and that are continued throughout are iconic enough at this point to where they're used in the marketing and they're used in everything, and people know what they are. And I think there's still that opening Brachiosaurus scene with that music that everybody knows at this point. And the approaching the island scene that everyone knows, and with the fanfare and theme and everything, like it's just so iconic and attached to seeing a dinosaur for the first time and Jurassic Park that I think Rebirth and the other movies in this franchise are connected to Jurassic Park as well, but like Rebirth seems to be endeavoring to be very connected to Jurassic Park, and this is the original research facility that they say in every single ad. But I have no problem with it. It's just funny. But like I think that those themes are iconic enough that they will still elicit the same feelings like under dinosaurs and under the same types of things in Rebirth I do. So,
Yeah.
and I think the Jurassic World themes, the Giacchino themes, just have a different connotation for different things, and so they won't be used as much or in the same way, perhaps, but they might be there. So,
yeah, it's different because like I would still get hyped, you know, watching Indiana Jones and hearing the Indiana Jones theme every time some adventure's going on, or the opening credits of Star Wars. Like you don't get sick of these things, you know, ever.
I think
You'll
what we're
listen to them
getting
over and
to,
over again.
I think what we're getting at is just John Williams is the greatest of all time.
I'm so sorry.
Because
this
you
is a
just said
podcast about
we're just
Alexander Desplat.
discussing. Because you just listed off 3 John Williams. And I was like,
I know. I don't know what track it is on Dominion. Let me just cut through some things here, see if I can find which one I was talking about. I think it's this one.
To that effect,
sorry, hold on. Here it is. Yeah, here we go.
him. So,
Do you hear that?
mhm. Yeah. That's a counter line and accompaniment of like some previous statements of the Dominion theme, like early in the movie.
Dude, it's so good.
And it's great. It's fantastic.
Man, that's good.
That hit at the end.
Oh, wow. But yeah, continue that. Go back to the studio and record more of that, please, because that's the kind of vibe we want.
I wish, you know, Dominion and the extended cut or the regular cut, and like, you know, the score changes between those two also. So like,
Mhm.
next time, if you're listening to this, next time you watch, listen to the differences in the score. But like, I don't know. I wish that Dominion main theme was in the film more. And this is such a tangent because this is a podcast about Rebirth and Alexander Desplat.
We did like, what did we do? We did let's see, Lost World. When did we did Dominion too, right? Like we did talk about that.
Mhm.
I don't remember when that was, but
We had to split it into like 16 parts.
it must have been a while ago. I don't remember. Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing is like, especially with the extended cut, it's like a lot of different going back and forth and trying to figure out where stuff was cut, what was added. But back to the article because we're talking about this new score.
Desplat is bringing fresh things to the franchise.
Speaking of that, he says here, Desplat explains that he wanted to incorporate quotes of John's music to honor his contributions while also forging a new path for his material within the context of director Gareth Edwards' story in Rebirth. So there you go. And I think, you know, you mentioned it's really referring a lot to the original park and all this stuff. I imagine it will just be more of like the same that we kind of got with like the visitor center kind of stuff that we saw in Jurassic World, like these really like haunting kind of things, because it's in the past. It's like, what else can you do with these, like quoting these themes of the past? I don't know. I feel like they have to be a little haunting and just kind of like stylized like that.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, I don't know what this is going to be because there's only been one trailer and that's a good thing. So like we haven't seen much, but like whatever connections to Jurassic Park are in that lab, or if there's connections to Hammond or the park or something and you see it on screen or it's talked about, I would think that like that's the best opportunity to have like really haunting Jurassic themes in John Williams.
What if he just like literally just quotes like the Welcome to Jurassic Park like theme and just like in the lab while a person's getting eaten in the red mist and there's a fire breathing mutant in there like
fire
it
breathing
just dun,
I mean,
and you're like, wow, this is beautiful.
Oh. Yeah. Oh man. No, I mean Jurassic Park theme's been done in major and minor, by John Williams. So like it can do both. So
yeah. Do you think are we past the? I don't feel like we're past it, but the days of like the solo piano just kind of one note, like do 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 do, like the quiet haunting thing. That's it feels like it's always in every trailer for every nostalgic movie and stuff like that. We still doing that?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of been in the TV spots if you've seen those. It's been just the half note theme that you're ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, because
Yeah.
everybody knows that at this point. It's a dog whistle.
It
So
literally just we all perk up and just like get out of our cubicles or wherever we're at. We're just like at the bar, just hear it
I
on
mean,
TV.
when I'm watching something else on TV, it alerts me. It's like, oh wait.
Yep.
So
Go ahead.
no, I think there's going to be some really unique that quote you just read about, using John Williams stuff in the context of this new film or however he phrased it. Like that's really interesting to me, and I think knowing Desplat's music, he's just probably going to create some really unique, sometimes wacky stuff. Even with previous Jurassic material, you're going to hear it in some interesting ways maybe.
Yeah. All right, here's another quote here. It says, he found himself balancing how and where he could inject some of Williams' theme as a reminder in a new story using a mainly orchestral score, interesting, with help from a 105-piece orchestra and a 60-piece choir. That part got me singing Hallelujah over here, dude. I was very
Yeah.
excited about that. It says you try to make it your own and at the same time pay homage to Williams' music and try to find your own way through that by inventing new themes and ideas, but staying in the same artistic zone as the scores of the franchise. Do you think we're going to be getting like themes for each like character? Are we at that point, or is it just like, I don't know what their intention is. I guess it depends on what is their intention with this movie. Are we going to be carrying these characters across multiple films? Like, are we going to get themes
Oh
for
yeah.
individual characters and dinosaurs or whatever? I don't know. I have no idea.
He says in that article about having a theme for ScarJo's group and a theme for the family, like two different things there. So that's at least two, I suppose, and they will interweave, which will be interesting.
That's
So
true.
that's that was a really cool thing to hear, honestly, for him to just immediately talk about doing that. So
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Here's the quote here. It says, it's the emotional aspect, which is divided into two stories. This group of people looking for dinosaurs and another group of people, which is a family. There are two themes and melodies that belong to these two groups, he explains. The other aspect is all the action. So yeah, I guess that's it probably, right? Just the two themes, which, I
would
imagine
bet
it will be a playful, somber theme with the family, and then something like maybe more militaristic or something with the I don't know, huntery kind of group,
Yeah, heroic with ScarJo, or noble, sort of a regal thing with ScarJo. Adventurous. I don't know. I'm using a bunch of adjectives here, but I lost my train of thought as to where we were going with that. But
well, let's see what Gareth Edwards has to say. He says,
what I was going to say
ahead.
was, I would bet that the mutant, the mutant that we've seen, I would bet there's a musical theme associated with that. So
man, what I'd give to just like have that theme right now, just to know that theme. That would be.
I bet I bet there's some brass in there.
I don't know what could be in there. Like the thing about this movie is like, it's you mentioned before, like they keep mentioning the fact that we're kind of referring back to Jurassic Park and stuff, and every piece of material that comes out about this movie is all exactly the same. Every article is the same. Every trailer and secondary trailer is exactly the same. Showing every picture is exactly the same, which I very much appreciate that they're doing that. That it's not branching out into things that we haven't seen. I think that's pretty good. But like at the same time, I do want to see something else. But that theme, if there is a theme for that dinosaur, I need that, whatever that is.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And what I don't know if no, it was a different article. It's not this one, but Gareth describing the mutant in a different article was quite candid and funny about it, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
So
all right. So he says, Gareth Edwards says, like the epic dinosaurs in our film, Alexandra is. I can't do
how
it.
many times have we flip-flopped it in this one episode?
Alex. I'm just gonna say Alex. Why am I not doing that? Alex doesn't sound. He doesn't.
Just call him
French
by
guy
his
an
last
Alex?
name. Just say
Desplat.
Desplat or Desplat.
So this is not an exact quote, everybody. Here, I'm going to change a little bit here. Desplat is the last of his kind, a rare species. This sounds like he's describing Alan Grant, with the talent and knowledge to orchestrate his own classical scores. He says, if the studios could clone him, they would. Until science finds a way, I'll happily settle for those goosebump-inducing memories of hearing his music at Abbey Road as he conducted a 100-piece orchestra for our little Jurassic movie, Chills. So... excitement there. He's excited about this, which is good. I like it.
It's awesome. I mean, I think Gareth would have been there no matter what, but it's awesome to hear that he was, because just the connection there is great. So,
and he always seems like so down to earth that he would be like freaking out in the corner of the room, just like being excited to hear this.
Yeah.
Who quoted this? This is Desplat as well. He says, John Williams is a very iconic composer that you don't call on the telephone every morning to ask his opinion about what the heck you're doing. So I never would have dared to ask him anything. I have too much respect for him. I'm much too humbled to think that he'd have an answer to me. I tried to be as good as I can be. So yeah, don't call up John Williams if you're unsure of what to say, I guess.
all of the stuff Desplat said at the end of the article there about like, maybe it'll work out, maybe I'll get fired. It's like, what?
Yeah. This is what he says.
Funny.
He said, I hope that when he hears the score, he'll be happy, and that I won't be embarrassing the franchise with what I wrote, and that John Williams' wings are flying above us. So I do hope Spielberg enjoys the score. We'll see. Maybe I'll be fired. You never know. And that was the end of the article. Like, what a hilarious way to end this article. It's like, I don't know. I might suck.
Oh, man.
Who knows? Yeah,
So,
it won't suck though. It's gonna be a great score.
He's great. I loved his energy. I already loved his music, but like, admittedly, I haven't watched that many interviews with him or anything like that.
Mhm.
So like, seeing this and it's connected to Jurassic and his energy was just really great. And for him to be up there conducting the orchestra, seeing him doing that was awesome too, because not all composers really do that anymore, and so that was great.
Yeah, speaking of that, we've delayed it long enough. Let's hear a little bit about it. Let's actually hear it from the man himself, and some of the music that's actually featured in this. Which, you know, when this first came out, I was like, oh, here's the headline. It's cool. We got a new composer. Awesome, finally. And then I was like, oh, there's an article. Very cool. There's more information. And then I was like, oh wait, there's a video that actually shows and we can hear part of the score. Incredible.
We got some budget behind this, you know?
Yeah.
We produced. It was good.
Let's take a listen here.
Ready, guys?
Let's go. The beginning was a conversation. Would you be excited to write the score of a Jurassic movie? And I said, wow, that's a challenge. The history of this incredible franchise, and above all that, it's John Williams, my forever idol. Flutes, make sure it's... I wake up and I want to write music. That's what I love. It's just a joy for me. As John Williams would say, it's infinite, the possibilities of an orchestra. Beautiful. Thank you very much. At some moments, the music is so loud and so strong and dynamic, they will feel it. The audience will feel it for sure.
Heck yeah, dude.
Heck yeah.
Dude. Like,
Agreed.
it's so good. It's so good and so incredibly I'm playing it. Hold on, let me pause that. It's so incredibly
Soyona Santos.
I don't know. It just YouTube keep going. Stop. But it's so incredibly Jurassic, and it's almost comical because like it feels like, you know, you're getting this introduction to a new composer. He's up there conducting, and I'm like, man, they just hit play on like a different Jurassic score like that I that maybe is already produced. That it just sounds so already Jurassic, and I love that so much. Everything about it, the watery. It's got like the watery harp feel that like is all over Jurassic scores. It's got the flurry of like piccolo sounds or whatever, and then it actually I felt like there was a little bit of Bernard Herrmann like infused into that towards the end of the
At
piece.
the end, yeah. Yeah.
So wow, 100% captures it. It's almost like he's been just waiting to do this, you know?
It's fantastic. I love what I hear in that video. And I think because one of the shots in that video says like
Yeah.
the first says the cue and then it says opening lab. It's like it's like the first
Yeah,
it's
let me
like
go
one
through it
MV,
real
one
quick.
B.
The beginning was a conversation. Would you be excited?
So
At the score.
there it is. All right, so yes, so we got so describe this. So when you see a score and you've got the name of the composer there, you see 1M1 V8. Is that, could you describe what that means for myself and others that forget or don't know?
So you've got the composer's name at the top there. Excuse me, gosh. You've got 1M1, which is the cue number, which is like where it is in the film. And since it is 1M1 and then you've got the cue title, like the title of this piece of music for this portion of the place in the film. And it says opening lab. So that's like the track title, if you want to call it that. But yeah.
Which, by the way,
so,
I want to mention this real quick. I am very excited to get real track titles again and not like silly, goofy ha-has for titles.
So that's so funny because like I love the track titles. I think they're hilarious. And I think some of them, when they're serious enough, are very, very clever. But I totally understand like feeling that they're goofy because like I hear way more people say that they don't like them and they're goofy than actually like them.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like them. They're fine. They're funny, but like I also like just like opening lab. Like I get it. I know. I know where that is in the movie.
Exactly. That may change like on the actual album that you end up streaming on Spotify or whatever. It might be something a little different than that, but like because track titles on film music albums these days come down to like everybody's involved, not just the composer, like the director, the studio, the marketing people. They're all like, what does this music need to be called? So it'll be interesting. But I forgot what I was going to say after that, but no. So with the cue title there in that shot, I think that at least one of the pieces of music that we hear in this video is that music.
Okay.
Logically, because there are portions of the music in that video that are kind of like, more sweet and Jurassic and majestic, but then there's other stuff that's horrifying at the end. So I think we might be hearing that opening lab in the video.
So it does say here on like a little bit lower than that, underneath opening lab, it says something about the flute and play the piccolo and alto flute 3 and 4, also play alto flute and bass flute. So
yeah,
and that's what we're hearing in the beginning. It sounds like of this video. So
it's a woodwind part, and that those are doubling instructions. Like one player might play more than one instrument is basically what that's saying. But
I could see if this is an opening lab like sequence, if that's the very first minute of this movie, which we all kind of expected to be, I could see like kind of like a fly through of like a laboratory where things are like feeling good, feeling inspiring, feeling hopeful in a way, and then you get deeper into the lab, and that's where you get maybe whatever's whatever it is, see, I can't remember
Distortus
the name.
Rex.
Distortus Rex. Man. I finally got to a point where I can like kind of decipher between Indominus, Indoraptor, and all that. But now I'm like, I don't think I can even bother.
Scorpius Rex.
Scorpius, Distortus. I don't know. I really gotta get that.
Distortus Rex. Mutadons.
Mutadons. But back there, I feel like that's where we could get like darker stuff, obviously.
I had the same thought though, because I was like, if all of the music we're hearing in this, because on that day they probably would have recorded more than just one cue, perhaps, but they may have spent an entire bit of time on that one cue. But I was like, maybe all the music in this video is the intro of the film, and it's like majestic, mysterious shots of the island and like laboratories and like these weird dinosaurs on this island, and then we're in the lab with this Distortus Rex, and it's like, oh, here we are.
Yeah, I
Like,
kind of want a
that would be cool.
full fly-in from the foggy, ocean into the
Yes.
island, into the depths of the island, and go right in let's make it a whole oneer, like from the ocean all the way to the laboratory. I think that would be fantastic. So Gareth, figure that out, I guess. Already have done it. I don't know.
all the way in, like in Jurassic World when we go into Claire in the elevator, just all
Yes.
the way through
all
the
the
trees
way in there. Yeah. I think that would be fantastic. I do want to hear this again while I'm thinking about this.
Jurassic movie, and I said, wow, that's a challenge. The history of this incredible franchise, and above all that, it's John Williams.
It actually feels like it does feel Jurassic Worldy there. It feels like the dun 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 dun, the family theme, which kind of it feels similar. Back.
Jurassic movie, and I said,
That part with the
wow,
strings there feels
that's a
very
challenge.
much like it's
The
leading
history
to
of
a
the
Jurassic
incredible
theme.
Yeah.
franchise, and above all that, it's John Williams, my forever idol. Flutes, make sure it's
It's mysterious.
I wake up and I want to write music. That's what I love. It's just a joy for me. As John Williams would say, it's infinite, the possibilities of an orchestra. Beautiful. Thank you very much. At some moments, the music is so loud and so strong and dynamic, they will feel it. The audience will feel it for sure.
That right there. Oof, that is so good. I need this score right now, and I hate this feeling because like this is one of my favorite moments of any film. Like I really remember how exciting that was. That was absolutely one of my favorite parts of Jurassic World coming out, was when we finally got those like two pieces of music or whatever it was at that time, and just
Yeah.
pinpointing the exact moments because you could just tell. You just knew where they were going to be. And this,
Yeah.
we're actually getting the information, it seems like, right there. So I hope we get I hope they kind of follow that format, maybe release like a track or two. That would be cool. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, with this marketing push, including the music, like hopefully they do release a track or two. That'd be awesome.
yeah, that would be really cool. I don't know what they're going to do, what this movie is still. I have no idea, but I don't know. It just, I love his scarf that he's wearing in this video. He just seems like the coolest dude. I want to hear him talk more about working on this, and he's so serious and so cool, and I need more from him.
You said that felt like, pressing play on another Jurassic score, like that little mysterious chord progression under the flutes in that video, that mysterious part there, like very, very The Lost World. Like when they're in San Diego and they're running, like the huge crowd of people is running down the street, the music is very, very similar there and multiple other places. So
yeah, so I mean that's the extent of the article and the information that we have. I did want to dive into just a few pieces here real quick, because I've been going through a lot of his score. Like I said, I'm not super familiar with a lot of his work, and I think with Godzilla, like I really like that score, but it's subtle. I feel like it's big when it needs to be. It's mysterious, but it's a pretty subtle score. And I don't really have a closeness to a lot of the other ones, so I was taking a run through a lot of this stuff. But I wanted to play a few of them and just see what we think and how they may tie to what we could hear. And obviously, we just heard how incredibly good it's going to be there. But I was listening to the Godzilla score, and I was listening to, let's see, the Power Plant. That was one that really stood out to me. So around, let's see, the 54-second mark or so, I was like, let's go here. Oops, that's too far. Right here. Let's start here. The percussion for me, that's like...
Yes. I could hear that, Scardro is like crouching through those tunnels with her gun out in front of her. Like
100%.
That's what I hear. Oh yes, that brass. This is why, like, this
so Jurassic,
like, the Godzilla
right
score seriously is why I wanted Desplat. I was like, he's got it.
Yeah, and it's funny because because of Godzilla, we're all like, the next director needs to be Gareth Edwards. So this movie, and I talk about it a lot with like Tom, because we do a lot of like recapping of the Monarch TV show and other stuff and Godzilla movies, and it's just such a good formula. I know they started way after 2014, but like their formula for creating a universe, having a vision, and connecting all these pieces is really great. And I'm glad I don't know what we're doing, but if we're jumping off, if this is like a jumping off point or whatever, I'm glad that Gareth Edwards is here to be that person, and Desplat as well. Like, I feel like we're in good hands here. Yeah,
totally.
Here's another one. This one is Entering the Nest. This is just around the beginning here for a little while.
Even the title sounds Jurassic.
Yeah. Is this just Jurassic Park 3?
Stuff.
Like, what is this?
Yeah. I could just easily hear this under Jurassic.
Yeah. It's got some stuff that doesn't feel totally Jurassic, but I think like this feels Jurassic.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes. We're gonna hear stuff like this in Rebirth. I bet.
Oh yeah. 100%. I actually, this is not a movie I've ever even seen, and the title is horribly long, but it's Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. I don't know this movie. Like,
Not
you
a
seen this?
great movie. Yes, I have. Not an amazing movie, not a bad movie, but Desplat's score is fantastic. Like, so good.
Yeah.
So
I was listening through, and this one had like a lot of good like synthetic material in there, but like bass guitar sounding stuff, but with this big orchestral sound that was like a really good mix. Let's see, what was this song? Pearls on Mole. Where is this on the score? Here it is. Let's see. This was the beginning of this track. Some reason it sounded Jurassic to me. I should have wrote notes as to why. Oh, I think this one's pretty clear why.
John Hammond is getting ice cream out of a melting freezer.
Like Jurassic much?
I haven't listened to this score in a little while, but like it's so good.
Yeah, it's very good. Like I kind of want to watch the movie now, even if it's not great, but the score sounds very good.
It's just kind of a mess of a movie, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. But like it's
Sure.
fun. It's a good time.
There was
It's like sci-fi, like wacky sci-fi, and like Desplat just nailed it. So
yeah. Yeah, this whole thing like sounded very Jurassic, and I don't know, you could kind of hear them like the explorers in the beginning of Jurassic Park, like when they're kind of deciding like what seat to sit in and stuff like that. It kind of fits like really well and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this? And he repeats the phrase, like, so it really feels Jurassic there. But what's this one? This one is Bus Attack. Where is this one at?
Oh yeah.
I don't know anything about this movie, so none of this makes any sense to me, but
It's aliens fighting over goods. It looks like a car chase with a bus.
okay. I could see a T-Rex smashing against the bus.
Yeah. It's just Desplat does a lot of very chaotic sounding music, and Jurassic
Yeah.
fits that.
Which is interesting because like that's not necessarily how I would describe him, but he does it so well. Like I feel like so much of his stuff is quirky and, like I said, elegant. It just feels like there's some class to the music, So
It's because he's French,
yeah, I guess that's it. This let's go let's In the Chamber of Secrets, which doesn't sound like it's from the right score, but it is. This is a Harry Potter track
Oh, okay.
from part 2.
Yeah. Desplat did all of that beautiful music around Snape and that whole storyline. So
And this one is a good one because it feels very Jurassic, but it also has like, you can tell like he's working on that Williams stuff really well. Like
But he definitely knows like what a theme is, starting piano at age 4. So
yeah, I think he's got a handle on themes. And one movie that like that like I remember really liking at the time. I have no idea if it's like aged well or if it was even good when I saw it. But The Golden Compass like was one that I was like was interested in at the time. And this is one that like when I was going through the score, I'm like, I don't know what any of these titles mean at all. They're all kind of crazy. But this one is the Magisterium. I don't know what part of this one, but or why I picked this one, but
Muldoon is skulking through the jungle.
why is everybody skulking? Stop skulking. Keep.
Thank you for understanding that reference.
And then there was another one. I don't know what. I just felt like that had that vibe. Exactly what you're saying of like skulking around the jungle a little bit. And this one is called Lord Fa, King of the Egyptians. I don't know, but
Okay.
yeah. Oh. Doesn't sound very Jurassic at the moment.
Something, yeah, something I like about Desplat is he uses his woodwinds a lot and really well. Maybe perhaps not. I'm not saying he's better than Giacchino at that, but more. He does it more than Giacchino did, perhaps. So.
This is probably why. If this even feels like the Giacchino stuff that we got like in Malta.
In Malta, yeah.
But you know, like that. What song was it that I played before? The Chamber of Secrets one. Like I don't feel like we heard anything like this from Giacchino. No, wait, was it this one? No, I don't know which one it was.
Yeah.
Which one? No, there was a. Oh no, you know it was the Godzilla one, Entering the Nest. Because that I don't know if that's like the most like Jurassic sounding thing, but like I don't feel like we had anything at all that sounded like that from Giacchino with the well, maybe this is not even the one. I don't know what track it was. It was the one that had the fluty sound.
The only big woodwind theme in the Jurassic World trilogy is like when Blue and Beta are hunting in Dominion. There's like that.
That's true. Yeah.
Clarinet wood. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's the reference to the Lost World video game.
I really like what I'm hearing. I think by the end of the year, my Spotify Wrapped is going to be a very heavy sided here towards Desplat. So I'm going to be listening to a lot of his work, probably revisiting a lot of his movies, and because like you said, there's a lot of like really interesting and good stuff in there that I just have missed. So I really got to go back to it. I do think I've seen like Grand Budapest Hotel, which he won the Academy Award for. Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Like I saw that in theaters back in 2008. I don't remember really much of anything other than like the main thing. And I Little Women is definitely one that I saw, and I think I tried to catalog just like some Jurassic-y sounding stuff, but like a lot of it doesn't sound like Jurassic at all. So I'm excited just to see if he spreads out a little bit, because what we heard in that little tidbit that he shared with Entertainment Weekly, it's very Jurassic, but I'm excited for the other stuff too, to hear how the rest of it sounds. Here's some Little Women.
Yeah, it's very classical.
Very different. Very different.
Which is something that can be said about like Jurassic Park's score, is that it's quite classical.
Well, that's that's what John Williams is always like, basing everything off of like real stuff, and I think that's why he excels in what he creates, and that's why Desplat could do the same, for a lot of films.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you haven't seen The Shape of Water or listened to the score, he won Best Score for that one as well, and it's great. It's very, very weird, but it's also great. So
yeah, I don't know which track it was, but there was one that I was like, I think it was like the main theme or something like that. Gotta raise the volume with the whistling and everything. Oh, dude.
That's him whistling.
Is it really?
Yeah.
But you can hear the mystery there, which is good for Jurassic too, So yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited.
Yeah.
But we have to reconvene, I think, hopefully when we get some more news or an actual like release or whatever. Hopefully we get something before the actual movie. I mean, I don't like to be spoiled too much on things like that, but I do like to be able to think about like, oh, where does this go in the movie? What could this be for? We did get a few
Yeah.
teases with Giacchino over the times. Like we got like a few different tracks that we could like think about. So hopefully we can do the same here. But the marketing seems very different this time around. I don't know what their intentions are and how they're planning on marketing this. They're very quiet, I think, on this front, but it's going to be one of, if not the biggest movie of the summer. So I think we have a lot to look forward to in terms of marketing, in terms of talking about this movie. So hopefully, we have some more score. If not, then I guess, July is right around the corner. We'll be talking about whatever the score is fully. It's going to be here
Yeah,
very, very fast.
we are less than 2 months away. So
Yeah, as of this recording, let's see, my phone, I've got the update right here. As always, it's 58 days as of this recording. So
yeah, I have a countdown on my lock screen
yeah,
too.
I just got this right here. I've got that and Wicked and Halloween.
Nice.
And
Nice.
the important things. But yeah, so Caleb, thank you so much for sitting down to talk for a little while. I mean, it's still a lengthy episode here, but not as like big and just massive as some of our like breakdowns. But once we get Rebirth, I'm sure we'll have a 3-4 hour conversation that we'll have to split across multiple nights, and hopefully I can get my audio worked out by then.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited and like love talking about it. So I'm so excited to hear what he does. So
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, where can everybody find you? What you been up to? What you doing?
you can find me at Caleb Composed on all the things, and also go visit Jurassic Outpost and the In General podcast and all that good stuff, and join us all in the community counting down to Rebirth. So yeah.
It's almost here. I just had an epiphany right now when talking to you that it's very close. It's way closer than I
Mhm.
thought. It's very close.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
May 2nd was the other day, and I was like, holy cow. 2 months already.
Yeah, and the fact that like I said, we've gotten a few things, one trailer, and like a behind the scenes, but all that stuff is all exactly the same. Nothing's different, which is like
Yeah.
again, I appreciate. I don't want it just feels very unlike Universal to be doing what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, there's gonna be one more trailer, I bet, but I don't know when.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get hit with a flurry of stuff and I'll be like trying to like shield my eyes from everything, but it feels good right now. It feels good.
Life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is.
There it is.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
That'll do it for another episode of the Jurassic Park podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening and sharing in our love of the Jurassic music, the scores that we listen to over and over and over again. And I can't wait for Jurassic World Rebirth to be added to that list. I think we got a great sampling here from what we heard from Entertainment Weekly. And I think the SPLA is going to be a really great addition overall. I'm very, very excited. And it feels like we're in this like mysterious time where we don't fully know what the score is going to be like. What kind of energy is it going to have? What is it going to sound like? We've got little tidbits from that video from Entertainment Weekly, but that's it. It's all a mystery right now, and I love that feeling. So I can't wait till we actually hear more, like officially. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Caleb Burnett. So a huge thank you, as always, goes out to Caleb for joining me this week. And yeah, I think Dino-Score has always been one of my favorite segments here for the past few years. I really, really love diving into Jurassic scores, but also diving into scores that don't exist and thinking about the possibilities there and diving into that back catalog of Alexandre Desplat. Like I just love doing this kind of thing and thinking about Jurassic scores and any scores. And they're all so beautiful. I think if you go in the back catalogs of so many artists, you'll find some really, really interesting pieces. So if you typically just listen to Jurassic scores, broaden your horizons a little bit. Go check out other stuff like the Little Women score or Secret Life of Pets, or, different things that you wouldn't necessarily listen to on your spare time. But I think if you do that, your Spotify Wrapped will look pretty good at the end of the year. But thank you so much to Caleb. And I'm sure we'll have some more episodes in the near future. And as always, thank you to our podcast host, Podomatic, for giving us a place to upload the show each and every week. Everybody out there, please just know that you matter. Stay safe, be kind, fight for representation, change, and equality in the Jurassic franchise. But more importantly, outside of it, in the real world, this place where we all live and have to coexist. It's especially needed these days to just do the right thing. So let's go ahead and make this world a better place. I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to myself for the outro. Take it away.
Saddle up, let's get this movable feast underway.
Continue the conversation with us on Threads and Instagram. Watch our content on TikTok and YouTube. Find us on the web at JurassicParkPodcast.com. You'll find today's episode show notes, articles, contributor bios, and so much more. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our website, and wherever else podcasts are found. So please be sure to follow along and share with your friends, family, and fellow Jurassic fans. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will read your Apple reviews at the end of most episodes, so be sure to spare no expense. Don't miss our Wednesday night live streams, toy hunts, reviews, in-depth bonus content, gameplay, event and theme park coverage on our YouTube channel. If you want to get a hold of us or participate in the Jurassic Mailbag, you can fill out the contact form on our website or send emails and MP3s to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Feel free to call our voicemail line at any time to leave us a message or just to say hi. That number is 732-825-7763. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, enjoy.